So many people want to learn machine learning and they also want to combine it with Python. This is the case for someone who actually knows coding, knows Python, or maybe knows other programs, and they want to get deeper into machine learning. Now, the synergy between or for the two of these is actually really good because Python allows you to build machine learning algorithms very, very fast and to scale and to even actually build solid web applications extremely fast. All right, but to be actually very successful in this combination, you would have to not only have Python skills, machine learning skills. Having machine learning skills entails having math skills, fundamental mathematics, linear algebra, statistics, and probability. But this is maybe not necessary if you don't want to understand everything from the bottom up. If you do want to understand everything, and if you want to learn how to build algorithms from scratch with Python, you might want to know the mathematics behind that. And there are a lot of good resources online for this purpose, such as you could start with the machine learning very extensive course of Andrew Ng on Coursera. But if you don't want to sign up or join a website such as Coursera, which is really good in my opinion. You could also learn for free, and we're actually going to briefly look into this machine learning with Python path, which should be a beginner path, I would assume. So I want to make sure that everything runs here and the microphone is running. All right, so this is from Real Python, a website that I also recommend in some of my courses that I have published with Pact and with Udemy. And not all the content on Real Python is free. As you can see, they have a store here. But a lot of it is free, so a lot of it is accessible without even actually having to join or sign in, such as this machine learning with Python. All right, so let's actually look into this. So, skills that you will be learning: image processing, text classification, and speech recognition. So, this is enough to get someone started with machine learning and Python in 2021. Additional resources. We have a topic. So here we have 11 resources in this learning path, and the benefit in this case, the major benefit is that everything is here on the site, so you don't actually have to follow or go through other websites resources and keep tracking of everything. You start out with setting up Python for machine learning on Windows. This is actually maybe not interesting at all, but they actually go via a Conda or Anaconda environment. And yeah, I'm not gonna insist over this, but as you can see, this is very, very lengthy. And you also have examples here, which you can just simply copy and paste. And they actually explain some basic concepts. The examples are very specific to machine learning because, as you can see here, it uses the Keras library, which is a library for machine learning. It also uses NumPy, which is numerical Python. And then it gives you further resources. You have NumPy tutorials still on real Python, as you can see. Plotting, histograms, pure Python. So all of the resources are on real Python. So these guys are actually clever. Oh, of course. You can see that they have a link to Free Code Camp as well. So yeah, and also other resources. But the majority, the main resources that they suggest are on their website. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so yeah, this is a tutorial. Then you have face detection with Python, which is a course. As you can see, you have 11 lessons, which should take around 29 minutes if you just binge watch. And of course, we can see that only a few of them are accessible in this case. So if we click on this one, this lesson is for members only, so you have to actually join. If we click on unlock this lesson, you'd have to pay 20 euros. All right. Let's actually look into so you have the first 3 of them for free, and then you have the rest of them which are under the paywall. Okay, now this was a course. Then you have tutorials. The third one is a tutorial image segmentation using color spaces with OpenCV, which is Open Computer Vision, which is a open source computer vision library. So let's look into this one. This is actually a free resource, and it's quite a lengthier one as well. So you can actually start implementing this in Python. Now, traditional face detection with Python, this is a course. So let's actually go to youtube.com. And look into face detection Python course. And there you have it. You have an OpenCV tutorial for face recognition and identification from 3 years ago. Python face recognition tutorial. So you can just do this face recognition, face detection Python course. And as you can see, you have a lot of them. Nicolas Renote. He's a really good guy. I've actually talked to him on LinkedIn, so I highly recommend that. This is a free full course, so you don't have to be put off by the fact that the folks at Real Python have put their course under the paywall or behind the paywall because you have free full courses here on YouTube, and I would just start with maybe not necessarily Renote Nicholas because he's specific on TensorFlow object detection, but I would start with this one, which is less lengthier, is only 1 hour, and it's OpenCV in this case. There's another one from Free Code Camp, so OpenCV plus Python, Free Code Camp, I highly recommend them. All right, moving on. So we then learn about linear regression, which is one of the very most simple machine learning algorithms that you can implement in Python. This is probably another tutorial which is really lengthy, and you can just simply, so I highly recommend that you actually implement this line by line. You write it down, don't just copy paste it into your interpreter or into your developer studio, but just actually write them because you better understand everything. Because when you write it yourself, it more often than not is that you understand things better. Now we have another course, text classification with Python, and I would assume this is behind another paywall, and we're actually going to do the same trick here. You have the first 3 lessons free, and then text classification with Python and Keras. Let's just copy this, and this is 39 minutes. So text classification with Python and Keras, then you have a few tutorials here. Decision Forest is a channel that I would recommend in this case. Really good channel for machine learning. So as you can see, you have multiple tutorials free, and if you can see, even the first one is from Decision Forest. So text classification with Python and Keras. Text classification Keras. So if you're talking Keras, you already assume it's Python because I don't see other implementations that are as popular as the Pythonic ones when it comes to Keras. All right, so you would ignore this, then you would take this, the split your data set with scikit-learn train test split. This is probably part of the pre-processing, which is very important when it comes to actually a machine learning pipeline. The pre-processing part is often the most laborious and the most dreadful because it's data cleaning and data processing is not something that most people look forward to, but machine learning engineers actually have to deal with it, and it's an evil necessary. It's a necessary evil, if you ask me. The Ultimate Guide to Speech Recognition with Python. This is a tutorial, so it's not a course. All of them are tutorials. So you have speech recognition, so this is going to add more skills to your repertoire. Speech recognition, we have an overview, we have packages, and there are many more packages when it comes to speech recognition with Python. I've used, so far I've used Watson Developer Cloud in my courses, speech recognition, and I think that's all. I haven't used these ones. These might be newer ones. But anyways, yeah, so you learn speech recognition, then you learn PyTorch and TensorFlow for your Python deep learning project. So it often is that engineers have to choose implementation between PyTorch or TensorFlow, and the camps are split here. A lot of people swear by TensorFlow, others by PyTorch. So it's a matter of personal choice. Then you get into, so they've only got into very simple algorithms, and then it quickly takes you into generative adversarial networks, which are, I wouldn't like start teaching GANs to someone who's learning this, but their tutorial, I don't want to be mean here, might be a beginner one. So yeah, I guess this might be a good one for a beginner, as long as you know a little bit of the math behind it. But they explain it here, and they actually implement a GAN in Python. Quite a lengthy tutorial. So this is actually digit recognition, right? So handwritten digits generator. So this is a generator, not a recognizer, with a GAN. And of course, I'm actually very fascinated by GANs. You have further reading. This is a book that I recommend, which is, I believe this is 2020. And I know this one as well, 2019. If we just replace IT with .com, okay, so you have a more complex architecture, and then you go to the very simple the very simple, one of the most basic machine learning models, which is the k-nearest neighbors, along with linear regression here. So k-nearest neighbors and linear regression are very simple machine learning models. So this would be a good tutorial. Then you have k-means clustering, which is slightly harder to understand, but if someone explains it to you well enough, it shouldn't be too difficult to understand it, especially if you have some decent background in hard sciences such as math, computer science, and statistics and probability, as I've said before. But of course, I want to add to everything that I've said here. So this is machine learning with Python. It's a good place to start with all the caveats that I've mentioned previously. And if you think that you need further explanation on each of the concepts that you learn, just look for it on YouTube, because YouTube is probably the best free learning tool ever. You have unlimited video hours on anything that you could possibly imagine. So you just have to know how to look for, and you just have to know how to spot some of the best resources for what you're actually looking for. I personally, to be honest, I personally pay for YouTube Premium because it's very cheap. It's $5 a month, $5 or $6 a month, and it's probably that's like the cost of two or maybe one very expensive coffee, and it's well worth because I study a lot on YouTube. I actually watch a lot of these courses and videos, so it's a seamless and a very enjoyable learning experience because you're not interrupted by ads. So that's probably one of my best investments. But anyways, real Python, machine learning with Python, start here and then go from there.